Hello everyone, welcome to the Tristar Gym channel. Today's episode is on guard retention. Guard retention is the most important skill in Jiu-Jitsu. It's the first stop for all beginners. Very important that you practice this sequence here, and it's going to make your guard very hard to pass overnight. Okay, so this is a basic collar tie up here. I'm going to go into my collar drags in a second, but first off, let's look at the position real quick here. I'm grabbing my partner's collar here, and not only am I grabbing his collar, I'm also driving my knuckles into his collarbone. So his collarbone's right here. Here's his arm. And if my partner were trying to move forward, he would bump right into my fist here. My fist is driving him back in the opposite direction. So that's me controlling the distance here. It's really important stuff. If my partner were trying to pull backwards here, obviously my grip on his lapel would prevent him and I'd be pulling him in the opposite direction. It's very important that I'm always controlling the distance. I'm pivoting both on my hand and my hip. And then I'm in my technical get-up position. Notice my lines here of my legs. This is a very important position, the technical get-up position. Okay, so let's move on forward here. I'm rotating. If my partner tries to turn to the right, I turn to the right with him. If he tries to turn to his left, I turn to his left with him. Now, obviously, my partner is going to try to grab my pants. It's very common. He wants to do the toreando. As soon as he grabs my pants, I can't wait 1 second. Okay, I got to break this grip. I'm going to bring my hips up and off the ground to generate power with a powerful sprawl. Okay, I'm going to sprawl right into his a hip heist here. As I hip heist, I sprawl. I'm driving those knuckles. Remember those knuckles there we're talking about? I'm driving them in the opposite direction, and I'm kicking my legs in the opposite direction, which creates a very powerful force on his grip. Okay, and I'm gonna break his grip. My legs should be way stronger than his grip. Okay, way stronger. My hips, my back. This is a very easy maneuver for me to do. Now notice here. Watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna baseball slide right into a collar drag. We call it the baseball slide into collar drag. And I'm going to transition to the back. You might have to watch it a few times to see exactly how it's done. I'm going to break it down for you as always, but you might want to take a look at it a few times. Okay, so I'm in technical get up. I'm going to sprawl my legs back. As I sprawl my legs back, I'm going to slide across his body. Watch how I slide across his body. As I slide across the body, I pull, drag the collar, face the same direction as my opponent, and take his back. This is a very powerful move. It will work for you from white belt to black belt. Okay, very important stuff here. Make sure you practice this really often. When you're doing gi, this is one of your go-to moves. Now let me just rewind it here 1 second. Notice how I grab the collar in the first place. Okay, if I want to grab the collar with my right hand, I'm gonna feed the collar to my right hand using my left. See how I did that there? I used my left hand to feed the right hand the collar. This is very important stuff. So now my opponent starts to get an angle on me. See, he's grabbing my pants and he's starting to get an angle. Once he gets an angle, I want to start to scoot as always. Okay, I want to scoot. I'm trying to hip heist here, and all the time I'm scooting. Watch here, I'm moving my hips. And I'm getting him right back out in front of me. I always want him in front of me. I never want him at an angle. Okay, so I'm always fighting to escape and make him face me directly, face to face. Okay, and go right back into my collar drag. I never want him getting an angle on me. Now sometimes it's gonna happen, he's gonna get an angle on you. Maybe he was a little faster, you were fumbling around with the collar and you didn't get a tight grip. And now here you can see Ivan has got an angle on me. Don't let go of that collar. You still want to push in, you still want to straighten this arm here. I gotta keep this arm straight. Okay, so beware of the arm bars of course, but I want to keep this arm as straight as possible. And when I do that though, if he's really heavy and strong, he might be able to crush me and I'm gonna have to bail. Okay, so I got a plan B. Watch here, as he starts to crush me, he starts to put his weight on me here. Watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start collapsing. He's too heavy, he's too strong, and now he has a serious chance to pass my guard. I never want to let my opponent get this far. So watch what I'm gonna do. As I feel him coming to crush my arm, I'm just gonna invert my guard. Now if he moves forward on an inverted guard, that's gonna create a roll. Okay, so if he moves forward, I'm gonna sweep him, knee bar him, etc. We're not covering the actual sweeps. But if he doesn't move forward, that's great. It's perfect. He stepped back and my collar drag, I keep going into the collar drag sequence. But if he does move forward and he's very aggressive and he tries to crush you, here's how you invert the guard. I'm doing the inverted guard solo drill here. Notice I put my hand underneath my leg. I roll across my shoulders, never letting my back touch the ground. Feet should stay on the ground. Okay, this is something all beginners and all experts should know how to do. This is day one stuff. If you're a beginner in Jiu-Jitsu, this is what I'll teach you on day one. Inverting the guard here, getting upside down. Watch here, my shoulders are on the mat. My hip is off the belt. My feet are on the floor. Picture the cartwheel trajectory. You know, if you know how to do a cartwheel, basic cartwheel, it's the same thing except you're rolling on your shoulders and your feet stay on the ground. Okay, so I don't want my back touching the ground. It's not a somersault. It's not a salto. Notice my belt never touches the ground, only my shoulders and neck, and I roll right through. This is a very important skill. Watch this video as many times as you need to make sure you know this skill. This skill right here will get you out of a lot of trouble a lot of the time. Notice my left hand here, or right hand. I'm going to tuck one of them under my arm, my leg. There it is. I start to roll on my shoulder. Tuck your head in between your legs and keep your hips off the mat completely. Okay, it's very important stuff. So now I'm going to be doing it again here. Notice my left hand feeds the right hand the collar. My knuckles are driving into his collarbone. He's got the pants. He's trying to do Toreando. He's trying to rush me so that I don't get my collar drag. I'm always trying to keep him out in front of me. I'm scooting. He's beating me to the punch. Now here I start to invert. Now my opponent, if he moves forward here, he's going to get rolled. Okay, this roll here, he's going to get caught up in this upside down guard here, and I'm going to roll him through. And then once I roll him through, I'm going to improvise a sweep. We're not looking at that right now. I'm turning it into a knee bar or whatever. His other option is to back away. If he backs away, I'm just going to reverse my actions, okay, and go back to my collar drag. So I want him to retreat. If he doesn't retreat, I'm going to sweep him. If he retreats, great, I'm going to collar drag him. Okay, so I'm putting him in that dilemma right now, and that's exactly what I want to do. I always want to have my opponent in some type of dilemma so that he has no right answer. Any answer he chooses ends up with me winning. Here I do a little knee bar. We'll be covering knee bars in future tutorials. I'm going to let the rest of this play through, give you a little commentary to make things extra clear. Here's me doing it solo. I have my hand out as my opponent tries to crowd me. I invert the guard, just like I showed you before. Real simple. Okay. When you invert the guard, you might have to play upside down guard. You might have to play inverted guard. You know, and there's a lot of great resources out there on inverted guard. The best resource, in my opinion, is Ryan Hall's inverted guard. I've trained a lot with Ryan Hall, and in my opinion, pound for pound, he's the most technical jiu-jitsu practitioner out there. And his inverted guard is the best I've seen. So, in my opinion, I would recommend highly getting his inverted guard video. And if you want to really look into this guard, this is my my favorite type of guard is inverted guard, because I always feel that my opponents can't put their weight on me, and that's something that I'm very concerned with. I never want my opponents crushing me with their weight. This is a big concern for me, because if they crush me with their weight, I get tired. If I get tired, my technique goes out the window. So here's the next technique. Here's a very important technique. I'm hip heisting. I'm breaking free from his Toreando. And as I go into my collar drag, notice here, I want to drag my opponent here. Okay, that's the first move we learned. Drag him. I want to slide my legs across to this side, and then from here I'm going to take his back, right? That's what we saw before when I did the collar drag. But notice what my opponent is doing. My opponent is sitting down. He's dropping his weight. He's bending his knees now. Okay, now watch here. Once he drops his weight, it's going to be very hard for me to collar drag. So look, as I'm trying to drag him in this direction, he's pulling back in this direction. So what am I going to do? I'm going to slide between his legs here. Okay, that's not a good arrow here. Watch this. I'm going to slide between his legs. And I'm going to go to ankle pick or ashigarami slide. Okay, in this video I decided to go for ashigarami slide. I prefer it. I think it's a more powerful attack. So watch, as I'm pulling him, I'm going to slide into ashigarami. If you don't know your ashigarami, stay tuned in future tutorials. I'm going to be covering this very often. It's one of my favorite positions. So watch here. I'm trying to collar drag. As I'm pulling him towards me, he's resisting. I use that power. You see that leg when he's resisting? That leg is paralyzed. That leg right now is digging heavy into the ground. All his body weight is into that leg. Now I can use this hand here to ankle pick. Okay, so I'm going to connect these two together. Or I can connect them together and slide this leg inside. Now when you slide that leg inside, it's very important that the other leg here, this one here, this knee, always stays between you and him. You don't want to pull him into a mount. That would be disastrous. Okay, you look really silly if you do that. Okay, so you slide your body in, you connect that wrist and ankle, you drive your knee between you and him, and now you have a whole multitude of attacks you can do once you get to that powerful position, the ashigarami or leg entanglement position. When I go into my ashigaramis here, my leg entanglement positions, I'm not only looking to sweep, I have a lot of leg locks I can do from here, which I really like. And I did a leg lock tutorial last week. You guys should check that out. It's a very powerful tutorial on leg locks. It features Eddie Cummings, and I really believe that this is something you have to have in your game, because the leg lock is in my opinion, the best submission, because the bones in the foot are many and they're very weak and frail. And nobody can have a very strong foot. Nobody trains their foot to move massive amounts of weight. When I try to bend an arm, sometimes a man's arm could be incredibly strong, but never the case with the foot. And look, it's right there. I don't have to pass the guard. The sub is right there. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. That's the end of this episode. Please like, share, and comment for more tutorials, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.